The thing about sibling rivalry is that it gets colder, not warmer, with age. My brother Julian and I, Elena, had been locked in a silent competition since childhood. But while I built a stable career in finance through sheer effort, Julian focused on status. His engagement to Cassandra, the daughter of a prominent local judge, was not about love. It was about securing his next level of privilege. The engagement party was set to be the social event of the season. Hundreds of guests, catered, held at the yacht club. It was Julian's moment to showcase his perfect life. And I, the hard-working older sister, was supposed to be a piece of his perfect backdrop. A week before the party, Julian called me, not to check on me, but to deliver a cruel, calculated blow. He had decided I didn't fit his aesthetic. Elena, look, Cassandra and I decided to go with a very small, exclusive bridal party. We're only having 3 people, so you're not going to be a bridesmaid, he said, his voice flat. I knew that was a lie. Cassandra had 4 bridesmaids already. I tried to keep my voice even. That's fine, Julian. I'll just enjoy the party as a guest. Then came the real malice. No, you don't understand, he chuckled. The party itself is very formal. Cassandra's parents are paying a fortune. And, well, frankly, your style is a little pedestrian. And those secondhand gowns you always wear, we can't have that. It screams discount. Cassandra agrees. So we've decided that you should probably just stay home. Send a nice gift, of course. Don't worry, we'll take photos for you. My blood ran cold. He wasn't cutting me from the bridal party. He was banning me from the entire event, using my perceived lack of wealth and style as his weapon. He humiliated me, knowing that denying me entry to this public display of status was the deepest cut he could inflict. I hung up the phone, shaking with a cold, terrifying fury. This wasn't just an insult. It was a rejection of my entire existence based on his superficial greed. Julian thought he had neutralized me. He thought I would quietly send a gift and nurse my wounds at home. He had no idea that he had just handed me the blueprints for his own destruction. I wasn't going to send a gift. I was going to deliver a revelation. I spent the next week preparing. My career in finance had given me access to powerful resources, and more importantly, a meticulous understanding of wealth management and debt. Julian had the veneer of success, but I knew the truth was precarious. I started digging into his private financials. He had leveraged himself to the hilt to buy his current lifestyle. The condo, the luxury car, the constant extravagant vacations. They were all debt-fueled. But the key piece of information lay in the financing for the engagement ring. I knew the ring was massive, a 3-carat diamond that had cost a reported $80,000. It was the centerpiece of his entire engagement narrative. But when I ran the credit applications, I found something shocking. Julian hadn't bought the ring outright. He had financed the entire sum through a predatory high-interest consumer loan secured against the only asset he had, his late grandmother's trust fund that hadn't matured yet. And due to a recent market dip, the trust fund's value had plummeted, meaning the loan was now grossly underwater. The ring was not a symbol of commitment. It was a symbol of catastrophic hidden debt. But even better, in Julian's haste and arrogance, he had forgotten a single crucial clause in the loan agreement. Any public high-value asset purchased through the specific loan required a mandatory notarized disclosure to the buyer's closest family member within 90 days. He was 100 days overdue. It was a bizarre, archaic rule designed to protect family trusts, and Julian, blinded by status, had ignored it. The clock was ticking. I drafted a professional, notarized letter, the required disclosure, highlighting the ring's immense debt and the dangerous terms of the underlying loan. I made sure to include the current, depressed value of his trust fund. The letter wasn't illegal, it was just the truth, presented professionally.
The engagement party day arrived.
Julian's ban was still in place. I drove to the yacht club parking lot, dressed not in a gown, but in a tailored, professional suit, a clear statement of my status. I didn't enter the main doors. Instead, I tracked down the small, uniformed valet who was working the entrance. I handed him a crisp $100 bill and a single, heavy, expensive envelope. This is a legal document from my brother, Julian. It must be delivered to the engagement party immediately. It is addressed to Cassandra's father, Judge Thompson. It is urgent, legal, and non-negotiable. The valet, recognizing the formality of the stationery and the urgency, agreed instantly. I retreated to my car, parked out of sight, and waited. Inside the ballroom, the ceremony was flawless. Julian and Cassandra stood on a dais. Julian delivered a smug toast, praising Cassandra's pedigree and the bright, stable future they would share. Cassandra's father, Judge Thompson, was beaming. As Julian raised his glass for the final toast, the valet, following my strict instruction for immediate delivery, walked directly onto the dais and handed the heavy envelope to Judge Thompson. Judge Thompson, confused but accustomed to receiving important papers, calmly broke the seal and began to read the notarized disclosure, thinking it was perhaps a last-minute prenuptial agreement addendum. The moment he realized the nature of the document, his face went from calm pride to absolute volcanic fury. The room hushed instantly, sensing the catastrophic shift in the atmosphere. The judge's eyes darted from the document to Julian's massive, debt-filled diamond ring on Cassandra's finger. "Julian!" the judge roared, his voice accustomed to command in a courtroom. "Is this true? Is this ring, this commitment entirely financed by a predatory loan secured against a collapsing trust fund? Are you already technically bankrupt before you even sign the papers?" Julian's bloodless, handsome face went white. He knew instantly that only one person could have had the access and the malice to deliver this document at this exact moment. He looked across the room, desperately searching for me, but I wasn't there. "Sir, it's a temporary arrangement. It's business," Julian stammered, his facade completely shattering. "Business?" the judge thundered, holding the document high. "This is deceit. This is a legal requirement you willfully violated to hide your insolvency. You are a fraud. You think you can use my daughter to bail out your reckless gambling?" The party dissolved into chaos. Cassandra, realizing her symbol of status was actually a symbol of debt, tore the ring off her finger, flung it at Julian's head, and ran from the room sobbing hysterically. Julian, utterly ruined, was left standing alone, his perfect life dissolving around him. His shame was not a quiet embarrassment. It was a colossal, public spectacle witnessed by every powerful person he sought to impress. I drove home, leaving the wreckage behind. Julian and his parents called, screaming with disbelief and threats. They claimed I had violated his privacy, but I simply reminded them of the legal fine print. I had only fulfilled a mandatory disclosure requirement that Julian himself had ignored. I was just the messenger who delivered the unvarnished truth at the most inconvenient moment. Cassandra's family broke off the engagement within 24 hours. Julian's entire social and financial standing collapsed. He was forced to sell the condo and the luxury car to cover the rapidly accelerating debt on the abandoned ring. He had lost his social trophy, his financial backing, and his future bride. He never apologized for the sewage comment or the ban, but he didn't need to. He had learned the terrifying final lesson that I might wear secondhand gowns, but I deal in first-class finance. The one person he thought he could humiliate and discard was the only person who understood the fragile foundation of his entire life. The best revenge is often the clean, surgical execution of an inconvenient truth delivered precisely when the music swells and the entire family is watching. I was banned from the party, But I was the one who controlled the ending.